I think I sent you the video about what was going on at a federal facility out in California. I think it's right outside of Oakland.
Hmm.
That they closed it down recently because of a bunch of SA allegations, and now it's not even allegations. The former warden is in prison now for the things he was doing to the female inmates, and it's crazy that the BOP has made their biggest payout in history, 116 million
Wow.
to be paid to the affected women, and apparently it was a lot of craziness going on at that facility, and me and you, we've both been inside, and we could speak to some of the crazy things that you do see and do come across. So
Right.
when I saw this story, it wasn't like I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." It was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, wild stuff happens for sure."
Listen, shout out to I think that was what Democracy Now
Yeah, yeah, the video,
for you know their video and
and it's crazy because you haven't seen this story too much anywhere else.
I mean I haven't seen it all until you sent it to me and I was like kind of shocked and put a back of it. That's why I want to get them a shout out and plus we probably gonna use a little of their footage of Amy Shavera.
Yeah, Shavera.
Yeah, and I was just listening to her, man, and I felt her pain. And man, I feel bad for anybody that has to go through that type of abuse, mental and physical, in the free world,
Exactly.
let alone in a prison setting. Because, like you state, as you so eloquently stated, we were actually in prison ourselves, but and we were familiar with stuff that was going on similar to what she spoke about in men's prison.
Prisons, for sure.
And that's what people need to be aware of. I mean, the amount of money that the federal government had to pay out to those women that are well deserving of the abuse that they went through. I'm a student of history. I study history. And when I was in prison, a lot of the ways that not all officers, let me state this, because some of the officers where I was locked,
We're
I'm still,
decent.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm still cool with them now. I talk to them, we interact somewhat. The ones that are retired, good people, man, good people. But you got some, just like with anything, that are predators. You got some that are predators and with a bunch of different fetishes. And it sounded like that prison that there was no balance. It just became a predatory type
Yeah.
of
Like,
prison.
and you see it went all the way up to the top. Like the warden's in prison now. Like, so
So basically that was, and I hate to state this or draw this comparison to actual colonizing days in this country with slavery. And you had certain camps that they called breeding camps. That's similar to that. That's in your history, people, where they had women in spots and they were, because they looked at women as property.
yeah.
And those sick individuals up there were treating those women as if they were property.
And that's why prison reform really needs to be at the forefront, because it's not just about a person getting a second chance for whatever their crime is. It's about the human rights that are being violated while you're in prison.
And if you think about it, when you're sentenced, the judge remands you over
The custody of
so you officially become BOP property. And there's nothing no one can do for you to help you when you're under the custody as designated as property of the BOP. It takes an act of Congress. You're on an island by yourself, and trust and believe there were plenty of complaints that those women were making that were falling upon deaf ears
exactly.
because those different institutions' first priority is to protect themselves, not you.
For sure.
I've seen a number of situations when, no disrespect to women or disrespect to people of the LGBT community, where there were women that were maybe not being able to get the type of man in a free world that they were like, that were preying on men. I know no one likes to think about or talk about or think about a man being subjective to this, but I'm kind of happy that we're entering into the world where sex as in the identity is not firm, and you can only look at one gender and one way and the other. We have to look
Exactly,
at this
being
thing
as the
evenly
aggressor.
across. There were women that took advantage of men that in a normal free world that they may have not maybe had access to
For sure.
for favors.
Hmm.
And just like there were men that were, you know, same sex that gave cigarettes and all type of stuff for
Right.
people that watched out for them
Food from the
interacting
world and
with
access to cell phones and all types
this.
of things if you were willing to
This goes on inside of the BOP. Again, there are a lot of good people in the BOP. And in instances like where I was or other prisons that are up in the mountains, or basically these prisons are basically the main source of income in a lot of these communities, these rural communities. There are no other jobs. When you leaving out of high school, you're literally going to the military, or the goal is to get a job in the BOP and you're set for life. But you have strange individuals that are in there,
yeah.
that like that prison that was shut down, which it should have been, and the women were awarded. Just imagine the people that's in that community that don't have a job now. So I mean, this is something that I'm hoping that's just not a one-off. They look off into more than what they're doing, because I swear to you, being a part of it, and again, I cannot state emphatically enough, and I hope this doesn't offend some of the COs that I have relationships with that I really felt was good people and that helped direct me into, like, I'm in the trucking now. They made me aware of it and showed me how it could be beneficial even for someone that has a criminal record. So they are good people. But at the end of the day, I hope it's investigated more, because there is a colonial, if I'm saying the word
Yeah.
right,
Colonial aspect.
perspective or aspect in a lot of people mind that work there. And I mean, it would be easy to put them back in the 1600s or the 1700s.
For sure. Like I
You,
remember coming back from a visit one time, and I won't say the CEO's name, but you have to get searched coming back from a visitation, and it was very, very awkward. And it wasn't because of, oh, this is just a procedure. It was extra.
yeah, and the thing about it, some of the officers they know are same sex,
Yeah.
and they want to
Yeah,
be in the
they're
visiting
trying
room when
to,
it comes
yeah,
to stripping,
they're trying to see something.
and they know. But I guess based on law, they can't discriminate
Made
against them.
against it,
So I
but
get it. But listen, I'm happy that was brought to an end. My heart goes out to Amy Shavira
Shavera,
and all the other women that had to be subjected to that.
yeah, like that's horrible.
There's no
To
reason that should be done, and we should look at it the way it needs to be looked at, in a framework of history. They had breeding colonies, or whatever you call them, or plantations, to where they brought, other slaves, or even had free men
yeah,
that went and participated
hated in
in those
that.
particular, and that could be nothing more than that. And that's a huge stain on the history of our country. And to know that this stuff was being done again to women hundreds of years later,
Yeah, like it,
it's
it, it it's
disgusting.
it's insane. It's insane, and to think of, okay, so you've committed a crime, so you have your victim, whoever that may be or whatever that situation may be. You also are a victim of this situation yourself. You put yourself in there, and now your family and friends have to deal with that. And then to be victimized on top of being in that situation has got to be something I couldn't even fathom. Like, so
And
my
and,
heart
and
really goes out to these women, and also to these men, and also to these children, because the same way there was a female facility, there are male facilities and juvenile facilities in which these same types of things are happening and have been reported. But because, like my brother here says, the goal of the institution or the bureaucracy is to continue to exist, not to do whatever it was designed, but to continue to exist. So of course We're not going to say, oh, well, this happened or this has been allowed to happen on our watch. They're going to suppress it. And I'm sad that it happened, but I'm happy that it's at the forefront and being talked about now, because there really needs to be prison reform in America. But yeah, to be in America, modern day America, and to come across something this egregious is an affront to everything that America is supposed to represent and stand for. That's all I'm saying. Like, for us to really be saying these things and not executing them is ridiculous. It's an affront to everything we represent.
And the as Amy Shavera said, if I'm pronouncing your name right, forgive me if you see this, Miss Shavera, if I'm not pronouncing it right, because I'm the worst with English language, period, let alone names. As she stated, you're sent to these institutions to pay for what you've done. But when these type of things are done to you, I mean, did you really do anything wrong? In some cases, or some of these charges that you may be in to get what you got. And so, did you victimize someone to get where you were placed? Or was the people that you victimized, or however law wants to classify it, is minimal to the victimization that you experienced? Some of these people that are in there may have been victimless crimes and they've been violated in a way that, wow. And it's supposed to be with a government that you're supposed to trust, not the government. Well, yes, the government, because the government selected these people. And as the one was, what was it? Was dirty man part something?
Yeah.
I mean, they had derogatory names
for these individuals. One of the CEOs committed suicide
because he didn't want to
deal with the ramifications.
Now, that's
of his
a coward. You don't want to stand for the remedy. You would rather kill yourself than stand for what you've done to so many other people, because you don't want to have the people that looked at you as an upstanding citizen, as a part of justice, to find out how much of a predator you really were. Subscribe. Shout out to the woman that had to go through this, and any woman that has been subjective to this, free or in captivity. And I'm calling it captivity because of what was done to them. Subscribe.